Good morning, everybody. Let's get together and sing I Am Home. I am home. I am home. I have traveled far along this road, and now I'm home. Shalom, shalom. In the love of God, I am home. I am home. I am home. I have traveled far along this road, and now I'm home. Shalom, shalom. In the love of God, I am home.
Good morning and welcome to Unity, spirituality with open hearts and open minds. And I don't know if you can still feel the energy, but as you all know, on Friday and Saturday, we did our garage sale, which I have no doubt was a rousing success. There were times we had people lined up to check out. So the amazing, miraculous thing is the chairs were back in place for you to sit on this morning, thanks to an amazing team who set up and ran the garage sale and took it all down at the end. And I got to do a special thank you to Carl and Kristen, who guided us through it and organized. Woo! Woohoo! They picked stuff up, they organized, they did everything. And so I'm dedicating this service this day to the two of you, because you all are of such amazing service to us. So you are so loved. And now we're going to sing Come Light, Light of God. We have 2 radiant lights there and a whole room full of radiant lights and a whole bunch of them that look like they're still at home in their pajamas. And if I didn't have to be up here this morning, I'd be at home in my pajamas too. So come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. Come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. Oh, and now we're going to begin the series for August. We're going to take a break from looking at the miracles in the Gospel of John. And so this is Sunday morning spiritual summer camp for grown-ups. So we're going to be talking about spirituality and myth this morning, and then I'm going to do one talk on the metaphysics and mysticism of Harry Potter, and one on the Wizard of Oz, and perhaps one more beyond that. So I just thought I'd let you know it's going to be kind of a fun month where we're going to be a little non-traditional, but still very much unitics. So I invite you now to stand, and Tales Are Told is our song for today. That's just wonderful because it's about the power of story this whole month.
Tales are told, they help me grow, telling things that help me know. They tell of joy, they tell of pain, of days of sun and days of rain. Stories of just who we are, Some stay near and some go far. They help us to communicate. They bring us close. We congregate. Tell me one of yours. I'll tell you one of mine. Tales are told, they help me grow. Telling things that help me know. They tell of joy, they tell of pain. Days of sun and days of rain. Stories of just who we are. Some stay near and some go far. They help us to communicate. They bring us close. We congregate. Tell me one of yours. I'll tell you one of mine.
Oh, please be seated. Did you write that for this? I thought that was a new one. A new song created for this month by our very own Ron. It's wonderful. Oh, I love it. Add that to your regular repertoire. I really like that.
The power of story. So, when Pam said that we're going to talk about story this time, I go like, oh, wow. I remember taking a seminar series, and part of it was the power of story and where I am in my story and how I participate in my story. Stories we tell ourselves, stories that are told to you, stories that you tell yourself, stories that we tell others, stories that somehow we make up, stories as to how I see myself, stories about how I believe other people see me, true stories, fictional stories, factual stories, stories from the imagination. The human experience is expressed in story. Last Sunday, I wasn't here. I was at my dad's memorial service. And so in the preparation for that, I was looking at my dad's life over the 95 years that he was on the planet. Well, there's a guy with a lot of stories. I mean, the arc of his experience was huge. And I was looking at the decades and the markers of those decades, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, et cetera. And I saw within those markers all the things that really influenced this man. And so as I expressed how I viewed my father, and then others got to express how they viewed him, I could see those pieces. The Dust Bowl and the Depression of the 30s coming out of that drove the family to Washington from Iowa. World War II, he was 17 years old, thinking he was off to go to war, and became a father at 17. And then grew a family, and then multiple families, right? He and my mom stayed together for 76 years until she passed. So all of that was part of this whole thing. And that got me thinking about that seminar that I took. So the question that we were raised with and asked about in this seminar, so what is my role in my story? Am I a passive character, just kind of bouncing around through life and letting circumstances treat me like a ping pong ball? Or am I a director of my story? And do I do that consciously? Am I a conscious director of my story? Good questions. I look back at my life. Part of my life, I was one of those support people. I consider myself the best boy, but I probably was a grip which we're looking at staging things. Part of it, I was a bit character, just a small player in a big ocean of players. Part of it, I took on a leading role. Part of it, I got to direct, write, and produce. All of those pieces I could see in my life story. So then they look at, well, what's the narrative of my story? I got 76 years on the planet now, so I'm 20 years behind my dad. So what is the narrative of my story? What is the arc of that narrative? How's that carried through since birth to where I'm standing here now? What are the backstories? All the little roads less traveled that I took along the way that set up the stage for me to be where I am right now. Question is, am I intentionally writing my story and directing it? Do I do the proper editing when I write my story? Do I know what to keep and what to cut out of my story? What to let go of? Am I brave enough to rewrite my narrative in places that need to be rewritten where it doesn't fit? It doesn't fit with the image of the arc of my experience. And when I rewrite those, am I doing that from a space of creating positive things in my life and cutting out the negative? Am I directing with vision and clarity and care? And do I pay attention to the pacing? That was a good one for me. Times to stop and reflect and let go, and times to jump in and carry on. Trusting my instincts along the way and as I navigate. Am I allowing places for improv? Improv is just this wonderful thing that sits out there, and every once in a while we get to be improvisational. Just jump in, don't have a clue, just see what happens. Do I celebrate the plot twists of my story, or do I try to ignore them? And then, do I embrace the mystery of it all as that story unfolds? On my email, for those who actually got an email from me that wasn't hijacked by somebody else, I have a saying by Karl Bard. It says, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. So that's the question. How is it all going to, how is my ending going to be? Am I intentionally walking through this path to whatever ending I want to project out there? We get to choose that at any moment. Start a new ending. Start from right now and go, this is where I'm intending to go. And let that be the guide that runs me forward. It's like being on a bus. I can be in the back of the bus, just cranking along, or I can get up, walk to the front, and take over the wheel and direct things. The fifth perimeter, I think it's the fifth one. No, it's the third one. I got to think of how that goes. It is, the power of thought that allows me to co-create with the divine. That's what it's about. So am I co-creating? Am I letting Spirit come in and guide me and help me on those intentions that I set out there? Because I know that my path changes when Spirit guides me. I've lived I've got my arc of my experience has showed me the cosmic 2x4 that says, pay attention, get involved with Spirit, and allow Spirit to help guide this. Not to drive the bus, I'm still in charge of my bus, but Spirit is laying out the roadway for me. So, that's the question. Can we do this purposefully and intentionally as we go forward? I know we can. It's ours to do, and our story will be told on how we choose to do that. Truth. Today is truth, Sunday, August 3rd. I speak my truth with clarity and compassion. Living in an increasingly polarized world, I am aware that not everyone will share my perspective or see life the way I do. As much as I want to live harmoniously with others, I also want to be able to stand up for what I believe in, what I know is true, at least true for me. I appreciate that others feel the same way about their belief. So how do we mix this together? I speak my truth. Before I speak, I center myself in my divinity while acknowledging the divinity of all others. I am honest and grounded, staying steady if someone does not agree with me. Likewise, I receive others' truths as I would want them to receive mine. I want to be heard, and so do they. The presence of God is within me. I am a spiritual being living with integrity, speaking words of truth with spiritual power. From Zechariah, these are the things that you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates of judgment that which is true and makes for peace. I speak my truth with clarity and compassion. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, so now we get to settle into a time of prayer and meditation where we journey within and we touch the hem of the garment that is our own soul with its unique journey, its unique callings, its gifts to give and to receive. So let us settle into our inner place of the divine, of peace and presence as we sing Sanctuary.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, open-hearted, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, open-hearted, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you.
So take a deep breath. Oh, and just feel that air and life infilling you. And now breathe out, sharing your presence in the world with all of us. Just allow your breathing now to slow and to deepen as you settle into a place of peace and calm, a peace that transcends all understanding. Oh, how blessed we are to not have to figure it all out all the time. We can settle into the presence of the divine and realize that our lives, our soul journeys, are unfolding each day, but all in a divine order and every moment with an invitation to be who we have been sent to be, to both bless and be blessed by this world. Take a moment and reflect upon the arc of your life with all of its adventures and chapters, time in valleys, time in the mountains, times by day and times by night, times in the deep forest, times in an open meadow, all of them standing upon the nourishment of Mother Earth and with Father Sky above you with infinite higher vision. You truly are a spiritual being, a soul, but also fully embodied, allowing your life to unfold and allowing yourself to co-create for highest and best, right and perfect time, and with gentleness and grace. Oh, so bring yourself and your life exactly as you are and it is into this holy moment. Feel Mother Earth and Father Sky. Feel the created world all around you and the spark of the divine that is you in the unique form of your soul. Give thanks for all that has brought you to this moment. Give thanks for all that is yet to come, and be in deep gratitude that in this moment you can take a little time apart from the outer world and reconnect with your soul and its calling. Oh, just settle in for a moment in silence and stillness as you allow your soul to grow in brightness, illuminating you, your sanctuary, and beyond. Open now to receive a beautiful blessing from Linda Holmes, from Earth, our original monastery. Open to hear this and to connect with that deeper part of being from which everything else sources and emerges. The wave in me knows I have a purpose, a destination, and a gift. There is time to rest and to roil in the deep, and a time to engage in the journey. I am part of a greater calling, a community of others, carrying forward the deep things of God, not to hoard, but to give. A journey full of risks, persevering, changed by what I have no control over, impacted by the forces of nature and others, tossed about by the waves of time, moving a few steps forward, at times losing ground, and then carried onward by the strength of another, clinging to the shore, sparkling like a diamond in the warmth of the sun, living into the ebb and the flow of life. The wave in you knows open in this moment to be willing to be fully present as you live in both the ebb and the flow of life. Bring yourself and your life into this moment and touch your purpose, your destination, and your gifts. And feel the community of others all around you as together in this time of prayer and in our embodied lives we carry forward the deep things of God, not to hoard but to give. Settle in and receive that truth at depth. And now in the act of giving, I invite you to bring into this holy moment all of the prayers that are yours this day. Hold them and then gather them and pour them forth into the arms of the divine through the chalice of your heart and the creative womb of your mind. We now pray. We add to these prayers a deep wave of gratitude for Carl and Kristen and for each and every person who so devotedly co-created an event that prospers unity at every level of being. We bring into these prayers all of those entrusted to our High Watch prayer chaplains. And we unite our hearts with those who resonate with peace this day, that we might fill the world with the presence of peacemakers, the presence of loving light embodied in and as us. And so as you begin to gather your life once again, allow that light to radiate through it and receive an inspiration from Circle of Grace, where the map begins. For your soul journey is truly an unfolding story of which you abide at the center and send all of your consciousness out to the very circumference of the universe. Where the map begins. This is not any map you know. Forget latitude, forget longitude. Do not think of distances or of plotting the most direct route. Astrolabe, sextant, and compass, these will not help you here. This is the map that begins with a star. This is the chart that starts with fire, with blazing, with an ancient light that has outlasted generations, empires, cultures, and wars. Look starward once, and then look away. Close your eyes and see how the map begins to blossom behind your lids, how it constellates, its lines stretching out from where you stand. You cannot see it all, cannot divine the way. It will turn and spiral. You cannot perceive how the road you walk will lead you finally inside through the labyrinth of your own heart and belly and lungs. But step out and you will know what the wise who traveled before you on this path knew. The treasure in this map is buried, not at the journey's end, but at its beginning. So receive your star and the treasures that you will carry with you with the unfolding of your life and your soul. Oh, and so now with that awareness, I invite you to once again sing Sanctuary, recognizing that your physical form, your life, this building that we're blessed to share, the whole energy of unity is all part of a greater sanctuary.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, open-hearted, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, open-hearted, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for you.
And so it is. Om, Amen, and blessed be. Namaste. I behold the divine spark in each and every one of you. And now the gift of special music. Grandpa, tell me a story. It's another of Ron's songs.
I did this fairly recently, but it fit the talk too well to pass it up again, so. Grandpa, tell me a story. You know the ones you say help me grow. Grandpa, tell me a story. There's so much that I want to know. Tell me again about Martin Luther King. Remember, you told me he had a dream? Is it true that he lived to climb that mountain, and that black people once drank from a different fountain? Tell me once more about dear Mother Teresa, how to the sick and the poor she gave light, and how that light just keeps on shining like the sun in a blue summer sky. Grandpa, tell me a story, and let it last all night long. Grandpa, tell me a story, something about right and wrong. Tell me about sweet little Anne Frank. Some called her race inferior. How through all the hatred and the turmoil, her belief in goodness carried her. Tell me the story of Jesus, how he forgave even those that did him harm, how he lived for what he believed in and how his love lives on and on. Grandpa, tell me a story. It's late, but I don't want to go. Grandpa, tell me a story. There's so much that I want to know. Now, Grandpa, I want to tell you a story of a man who's old and gray. How he'll always live in my heart. 'Cause Grandpa, you show me the way.
You can see why he had to do that song this morning. Oh, we are so blessed in our lives to have people like the ones he mentioned in the song that can inspire us and remind us that we can be more than we ever dreamed possible. If you'd asked them, am I going to be great and famous? Most of them would have said, what? No. But they followed the calling of their souls, and they were willing to let their light shine in difficult times. And we remember and we honor them for that. They're part of our culture. They're part of our mythos. They're part of our spirituality. Because unless you embody the core of your beliefs and the power of love and faith and grace, it's worthless. It is coming alive through you that is truly born into this realm. And we're so blessed to have people like that to guide us. I remember when I was young, one of the people that I instantly was taken with was Eleanor Roosevelt. And I remember reading some books, even when I was fairly little, about her. And then as I got older, I studied her more and more, and the incredible difference she made in the world with her caring for people, the things she stood for. And she got teased because she wasn't pretty classically. And I wasn't either. I lived in Texas, and I was not a blonde cheerleader type. I was a chunky wildflower with buck teeth and glasses. And I remember thinking, seeing her picture and saying, she's really beautiful. Maybe her physical form wasn't gorgeous, it wasn't, but the light and the love that shone through her made her beautiful in a way that if you looked, you'd have the eyes to see. All of us had people that inspired us when we were young. Think for a minute about that. I'll talk a little more about that later on in the talk. But think, who was it that just absolutely drew your attention? Who was your hero, your heroine when you were young? And do they still guide you even now? I would imagine they do. For the purpose of myths and stories and spirituality is to inform us and to guide us and to inspire us. We are meant to be able to look and see great spiritual leaders in the world, from Jesus to Buddha to Muhammad, all Lao Tzu. These were souls that were willing to let their light shine so brightly that we still see them even now. Joseph Campbell, of course, is the man and scholar that in my lifetime really invited us to look at the power of myth and story and the power of archetypes and the hero and heroine's journey. He says this: myth is much more important and true than history, because it's where the meaning comes in, not just the facts. Myth is much more important and true than history. History is just journalism, and you know how reliable that is. Joseph Campbell. I imagine he's giggling in the spirit world now, watching what we're doing. Myth is the secret opening through which the inexhaustible energies of the cosmos pour into human manifestation. We are literally, our DNA, our very physical bodies are made of stardust. We are part of that cosmos, and myth is the way we can connect with things above and beyond ourselves. He says every myth is psychologically symbolic. Its narrative and images are to be read not literally, but as metaphors. When you read spiritual tradition writings, the beautiful scriptures for around the world, they can be read at many, many different levels. They say there are at least 7 levels through which they can be read and interpreted and understood. And the most deeply grounded is literal, and it goes all the way up to the mystic, where you see the light behind all of the unfoldings. When I lived in Texas, many, many people there took the Bible literally. They were very selective in which parts they wanted to take literally, but I remember thinking some of this is actual history. It is. It's also a cultural history. It's a spiritual history of how we can grow in our understanding of what the divine is. It's not the divine changing, it's us changing in our perception and understanding of what the divine is and can be in and through us. So there's this rich, rich history and cultural stories. There's humor. Most people don't realize that a lot of the Hebrew scriptures have humor written in because the language has changed and we don't get the joke anymore. But they're all woven through there. When you go back to the original Aramaic, I've studied with Dr. Lamza and a couple of other people who went back and looked at the Aramaic translations and how much richer and more full of humor they were. And so all of these, and then on top of the sacred scriptures that we read, you've got the books you've read, the movies you've seen, the family stories. One of the things that's really thrown people off recently is with all the new DNA tests they can do. They even have ads on it. You know, I've always dressed in German lederhosen because that's my background, but I got my DNA report and now I'm wearing a kilt. All of the stories that go with our cultural heritage, our national heritage. That's why I believe it's so important to preserve our national history, not to revise it in either extreme, because it's in our history that we can see how we have grown and what growth we have yet to do. I was working on this, and I got an email from Simon, and he said, oh, here, click to this Mythica community. He was going to be doing something as part of this, and I went, Mythica community, how perfect. That's what I'm talking on Sunday. And the website for this says the great treasures of the world's traditions have been preserved most powerfully within art, music, and literature. Inside these images and stories are seeds that can ignite our imaginations, connecting us to both ancient wisdom in the past and illuminating the latent wisdom that lies within each human heart. Mythica is dedicated to preserving the rich culture which is our human heritage and to passing on a legacy of creativity, contemplation, and compassion. I love those 3 C's: creativity, contemplation, and compassion. Creativity, we're co-creating our lives moment by moment. When we remember to include contemplation, we can make decisions from a higher perspective, and we can find the courage that we need to do that which we are called to create, and then to do it with compassion, to do it with a loving heart. The Hebrew scriptures are filled with stories. Many of the world's stories are to explain why things are the way they are. The creation story, there are actually 3 different versions in Genesis, slightly different versions that were included in different periods of time by different philosophical groups in the Jewish tradition. But it was all about, where did we come from? One of those first existential questions. And then we've got Noah and the flood. And what happens when everything is destroyed? And we're reminded that there's always a remnant, because the dove returns with the branch that's green, and then there's a rainbow that's in the sky. That's the first covenant between the divine and us, that reminds us of the beauty of the world in all its diversity as well as its oneness. You've got the story of Moses in Exodus. I remember when I first got into Unity, I loved, and it was like I can finally get the Bible when I did metaphysical Bible interpretation. It was nice to think that Moses was this guy thousands and thousands of years ago that went through this whole adventure. But when I got to Unity, they said, that is an archetypal story. Where does it fit in you and your life? When have you felt like Moses? When have you felt like you are wandering in the wilderness, wondering where the sweet water's going to be? When have you gone to the mountaintop and gotten an inspiration that changed your life and how you connect with others? It's all meant to be not stories that are left in a box. They're meant to be dumped out on the floor and played with, just like you'd play with toys in a toy box. Stories are meant to be encountered and experienced. You get to the New Testament, and we have our 2 most high holy days, Easter and Christmas, both of which are filled with stories around it because they are so spiritually important and psychologically important and archetypally important. You've got the stories of miracles and healings, of walking on water, all kinds of things. And all of those, as we learn in Unity, how can you do that? Can you develop your faith even for a few moments where you can literally walk on water? We're all invited to do that. Those stories are not meant to be, as I learned when I went to some of the churches with my friends growing up, where Jesus was the only one that could do that. It really has nothing to do with you because the miracle stopped when he died. That's not what he ever said. That's not how he lived. That's not how he encountered people. He was always saying, I'm doing this so you can see. Like with a Gandhi, a Martin Luther King, a Buddha, you can see that you can perceive and live your life from a higher understanding and a higher point of view. Growing up, we all had stories. Remember all the fairy tales growing up? Cinderella, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Pinocchio. There were all kinds of stories. And it's not by accident that children love stories. I still love stories. Ask Lane. I can't go to sleep unless I'm reading some good novel before I go to sleep. But stories for children help them engage in a world and go beyond the little nest of their family out into the adventures that life is going to call them to. There was a wonderful book called The Fortune Teller, and in that book, the mother walks in the room and her adult daughter is a big reader, and she's sitting there reading a book, and her mother walks in the room and says, I wonder where she is and when she is right now. Because through stories, whether they're books or oral traditions or movies, they're meant to invite us to encounter life, one another, and ourselves. The classics hero's journey is one that we all get to go through. I love something Joseph Campbell said. He said, I always feel uncomfortable when people speak about ordinary mortals because I've never met an ordinary man, woman, or child. Never met an ordinary one. I love doing celebrations of life. Because like David just experienced going through his dad's life, you see pictures and you hear stories. And a lot of us found each other here at Unity later in life, but each one of us has this rich story arc of our lives that brought us to this moment. And I love the idea of us telling each other our stories more and more. Don't wait until the memorial service. Do it while we're all still here. We can all laugh and cry and experience it together. I'll never forget there was one Oprah Winfrey episode. This had to be, 35 years ago. I don't even remember what the topic was, but I'll never forget she stopped. She was interviewing somebody, and she stopped, and she looked at the audience, and she said, I could bring every single one of you up here and interview you, and it would be interesting. Isn't that amazing? I still remember that, and I totally believe that. And so all of us are doing this journey of life, and it's so easy to reduce it to what are we going to get at the grocery store? How much gas do I have left in my car? That's not why we're here. Those are the nitty-gritty details we need to take care of so we can continue to be here and get to where we need to go. But to recognize that there is truly a higher purpose to you being here and for us to be together. I really believe that before we came into embodiment, I think we were up in the realm of spirit and said, hey, I'll meet you in Port Townsend sometime. That's why this doesn't just feel like a community of chance. It feels like a community of choice and a spiritual family of soul. I really believe that with all of my heart. And so I mentioned Eleanor Roosevelt was one of my big inspirations. I realized as an adult that my whole life was affected by who I admired. I loved the story of Anne Sullivan and Helen Keller. I ended up teaching multi-handicapped deaf children. Was with a little boy named Rudy when he got. It wasn't water like with Helen Keller. It was push, swing with this little boy who'd never had language before that moment. I love stories about Florence Nightingale. I went back to school and became a nurse, which my father, who believed you got degrees in the same field all the way through, he said, what are you doing? You're switching fields. And I said, they fit together. I don't know how yet, but they do. And then I always loved Audrey Hepburn in The Nun story. So I always wanted to have some kind of spiritual connection. And so those played out. And it wasn't until I did an exercise where I thought about who were my inspirations that it came so clear as to how they guided me and inspired me to do what I did, which was definitely not the traditional route. So think for a minute, who were 3 of your most powerful heroes or heroines when you were growing up? They can be real, they can be from stories, from the imaginal realm. Think for a moment, and then let one kind of shine and go, you know, for me, Eleanor Roosevelt kind of embodied all the other ones. So who was it? And then take a moment and reflect on how that is woven through your life, even up to this moment. What qualities did they have? What challenges did they experience and then grow through? How did that shining star help guide you through your life? I invite you to go home and journal about it. You'll be amazed what comes out. And I invite you, if you are willing to take the time, to pick 3 and to just journal about why did they draw you when you were a kid? How did they inspire you? How have they helped you embody who you are? And how are they with you even now in your life? Sometimes it's in the form of books. And at the garage sale yesterday, on the round table of books was this. Remember the little golden books? I loved my golden book library. My little golden book about God. I instantly recognized the cover. I see a number of you going, yes, I remember that cover. This, we think, was the one that Beverly read to Kaya when she was growing up. And I saw it and I went, oh my gosh, that is so, I haven't seen that book in years. It was originally published in 56 and then republished in 75, the Little Golden Book. And I read through it. I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm a Unity minister. It only takes 2 minutes to read. I'll read it to you and show you the pictures. I know a lot of you are going, I remember that one. And you're going to remember the pictures as we go through. God is great. Look at the stars in the evening sky, so many millions of miles away, that the light you see shining left is a star from long, long before you were born. No wonder I'm studying Vedic astrology. Yet even beyond the farthest star, God knows the way. Think of the snow-capped mountain peaks. Those peaks were crumbling away with age before the first men lived on earth. Yet when they were raised up sharp and new, God was there too. God in nature. Remember this sweet picture? I always loved that one. Bend down to touch the smallest flower. Watch the busy ant tugging on its load. See the flash of jewels on the insect's back. This tiny world your 2 hands could span, like oceans and mountains and far-off stars, as God planned. Think of our Earth spinning in space. Really appropriate now with our understanding of Gaia. This was before we went to the moon and took pictures of Earth. So now, a day of play and work, we face the sunlight, and then we turn away to the still, soft darkness for rest and sleep. This too is God's doing, for God is good. God gives us everything we need. We say that every week. Shelter from the cold and wind and rain, clothes to wear and food to eat. God gives us flowers, the songs of bird, the laughter of brooks, the deep song of the sea. He sends the sunshine to make things grow and sends in turn the needed rain. God makes us grow with minds and eyes to look about our wonderful world, to see its beauty, to feel its might. This one I love. He gives us a still small voice in our hearts. I read that when I was 4. He gives us a still small voice in our hearts to help us tell right from wrong. God gives us hopes and wishes and dreams, plans for our grown-up years ahead. Little did I know. He gives us memories of yesterday so that happy times and people we love, we can keep with us always in our hearts. For God is love. God is the love of a mother's kiss, the warm, strong hug of our daddy's arms. God is in all the love we feel for playmates, family, and friends. When we're hurt or sorry or lonely or sad, if we think of God, He is with us there. God whispers to us in our hearts, "Do not fear, I am here, and I love you, my dear. Close your eyes and sleep tight, for tomorrow will be bright. All is well, dear child, good night." All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well, shall be well. So I just had to share that with you. I knew some of you would remember that is what story does. It touches us at such a deep level. So whatever you're reading right now, read it more consciously. Recognize how you're connecting with the characters. How can they help you be an even better person than you've been up until this point? How can you be more truly the hero, heroine, not only of your own life, but of all of ours and of our world? For that is truly why we have been sent. Let us pray. Oh, sweet, sweet Spirit, abiding presence of the divine, thank you for helping us remember that before that first breath, we already were connected with you at a level of soul that came to this realm to be embodied, to learn, to grow, to experience, to deepen in wisdom and compassion and grace. Be with us on this journey in new and amazing ways, and help us remember how you've been with us since before that first breath through this entire journey of life, and how you will be with us as we take our last breath and go back to the realm of spirit, where we'll gather once again and all of us say, "Hey, remember when we found each other in Port Townsend?" We'll be celebrating in spirit, for love connects us all, always and forever. We never walk alone, for we have each other, and we always have the presence of the divine. And so it is. Om, amen, and blessed be. Now let's be like children and sing and have fun. We're going to do This Is the Day, and it's a fun song, so I invite you to stand and to move around and to dance if you feel like, whatever, clap, whatever you want to do. For we are celebrating that we get to live my little golden book about God every day.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made.
Woo! Woo! Please be seated. Oh, and my voice is going. I knew I was close. I managed to pull it off.
I don't know if you noticed in that slide how happy that dog was. I know we can back that up, but it was a golden doodle, but it wasn't yours, but it reminded one of yours. So this is the time in our service where we gladly take the offering and receive the offering. So I invite you to take it out, and we will bless it as we do here each week, as we bless each one of you and are blessed by it. So together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. What do we got here?
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
Ah, sweet, sweet Spirit, Mother, Father, God, I am so grateful. I am grateful for all the story of my life as I've walked it this far. But the story of my life when I included you within it, when I consciously did that, it was always there. But when I consciously got the realization that, hey, we can partner on this thing. And it's been a wonderful partnership. I am grateful. We receive these gifts and we send them forward that each person may find a heart filled with gratitude. Gratitude for their story and what they have been through. And gratitude for the knowledge that they can step away from that story if it doesn't serve them and start a new story, start a new ending. I'm putting a buzz on Pam. Sorry, Pam. So we send them forward with that intention that each person can find their own story, a story that includes Spirit within it, because Spirit is within it. It moves through each one of us. And from that, create a new ending, an ending that includes peace, inclusion, cooperation. Jesus said it's right here. It's always been here. We just have to get the eyes to see and the ears to hear it and the mouths to speak it. So let that be our mission. So we thank you for these gifts. We come forward with that intention and say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank, yeah, I know, Kristen and Carl, I know. I got a whole car full of signs I'll give you. But it was a rousing success on a lot of different levels. Looks like our grand total is going to be somewhere around $4,500 raised. And there was a lot of stuff that found new homes, I tell you. Some of the stuff still lives in the back, but it may grow and multiply over time. But anyway, it was a lot of stuff went forward. A lot of people came here and really had a good time. And we have cookies left over for sale in the back, so you can add to the benefit and the glory of all this thing. And I only got a couple announcements other than what's on the website. But I do want to remind you that Helma is holding the High Watch today, and Helma is available for personal affirmative prayer following service. So please take advantage of that. The prayer box is moved over to the middle, but it's still in the back of the sanctuary. Your prayer requests will be prayed for by the church for a week, and then on to Silent Unity for 30 days additional prayer. So if there's something you want to pray about, see Helma, use the prayer box, spend some time in silence. All of that will be work. We have a piano fund. Is that what we're talking about here with this basket here? So as some of you may know, or maybe all of us know, we are going to replace this piano with a brand new, well, a gently used Steinway. And it's something that we didn't even plan on, but this one is toast, basically. The harp is broke on it, or died on it. So anyway, this piano is going to go away, and we've got a new one coming in sometime in the middle of the month, I think. August 23rd. Whoa, we'll have to have a piano concerto that day, right? Maybe we'll have the Unity Singers show up.
That's possible.
Well, that's a possibility. Hey, anybody want to be a Unity singer? On Thursday at 2 o'clock, we practice. And we've got this cool song, Holy, Holy, Holy. And we invite any of you to show up on Thursday, 2 o'clock, and we'll practice. And then sometime along in August, we're going to sing that song for the congregation. So, and what it says right here, newbies are welcome. You don't have to have any singing experience, just be able to mouth, and you'll be good. One final announcement before we close the circle. So next Sunday here, following service, about 1 o'clock or so, we're going to have, there's a seminar, basically a workshop, I guess, called Returning Home. It's about human composting as an alternative to standard burials or cremation. So that'll be an enlightening thing, but it's part of this whole summer camp we're doing, right? So anyway, it's going to be here at 1 o'clock. It ought to be really interesting. And with that, let's create a circle here. Yeah. And if you happen to have an August birthday, please join me in the middle. I know. Yes, we got, yes. I know. Oh, I know. You an August birthday, buddy?
Yeah, today.
Today?
All day.
We're going to sing to you, buddy. How about an August anniversary? Anybody celebrate an anniversary today, this week, this month? June. June 21st, don't forget it. All right, I got an anniversary.
62 years.
63 years. Wow, we got to get Michael here. We're singing this for him as well. All right. On the face of
God, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
So happy
Sing.
birthday, Johnny, on this day.
Decade birthday, those are big. And for fun, since we did the talk on stories this morning, on the prayer table, I'm going to put a basket with inner child cards. There are all kinds of fairy tales, major and minor arcana, and then here's the little book if you want to read and see what the story is that goes with your card. So I'm going to put those back here as you all start singing the peace song.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And we know the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Blessed and blessing and buy cookies. Woo! Yeah, boy, it's really singing today. It's still going.
I felt like that message was totally
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, yeah, because you're like me. We love story and myth and dragons and
It hasn't been used that much.